Hi, also I'm here with Chris Keller. He's the filmmaker behind this fascinating short film, The Last Dance. Welcome to Fusion. Welcome to London.
Thank you for having me. Well, I actually live here. I just live down the road in Canary Wharf.
Oh, right. So not too much of an effort to get over. Oh, well, yeah, literally a couple of minutes.
No, it's a 10-minute journey. It's lovely.
So, I mean, Chris does have a fascinating background. He's worked on all sorts of feature films, which we don't need to go into because we'll talk about The Last Dance. But it's relevant because, of course, you brought that expertise to this film, which is obvious because I mean it's a really well-made short film.
Thank you.
But can you? Is this your? Because I hope you don't mind me saying you are a special effects. That is your profession, really. But is this your first foray into your own actual film in terms of the directing side and so on and so forth? Have you done other projects before?
No, I've done many other short films. So yes, I work as a visual effects supervisor in my daily life, and the sort of stereotype is always that visual effects people are geeks and nerds, and all they know is how to push pixels around on the screen. That's not the truth. We are trained filmmakers, and so sort of whenever I have a free minute, I try to write and direct my own films. And I think I started about 6 years ago. So The Last Dance is actually my, I think, 5th or 6th short film. Yeah,
I should have asked you. Yeah, if you can give us the synopsis, of course. Obviously, I've seen it a couple of times for those who haven't seen your film.
So it's about an old man who sits in his garage, sort of in the near future, and he's working on something, and we don't quite reveal yet what it is. He's looking at an old wedding video of himself and his wife when they were young, and then there's a knock on the door, and there's a postal drone. So we reveal that it's about 20 years down the road from now.
Which could well happen. Let's be honest about it. It's going that way.
That's the whole intention. Is it's supposed to be a believable near future universe. The postal drone delivers a letter to his wife, and we learn that his wife is now dead. And he goes back inside and starts up this huge machine he's been working on. And should I go into spoilers?
No.
Okay.
Well, it's up to you. I would suggest you don't. But let's just say it's worth watching.
He's attempting to relive the past.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yes.
So where did this all come from? What's the sort of background to this? Have you just drawn together lots of different things, or?
Yeah, it's always difficult to pinpoint the inception of an idea. So in this case, so I'm very, very interested in all kinds of science and science fiction and futurism. So I always have a bunch of big ideas bubbling around in my skull. But as a filmmaker, my voice is very much focused on character and sort of the emotional aspect.
Yeah.
And so if you combine these two things, big ideas and a sort of a very emotional character piece, that's sort of what I do. In this case, I've always had the idea of a person trying to bring back a loved one, whether that's as an android or in this case it's a slightly different method, which actually I think we should reveal because I'm sure you want to talk about that. So there's a hologram involved.
Yeah.
So
it's difficult not to, I guess.
It is difficult, and it's not a big spoiler. So I don't know the exact moment when it all came together. Actually, I think I was watching
Black Mirror.
Not Black Mirror.
Something like that.
Is it called Real Steel, the Hugh Jackman movie?
Oh yeah, I like that film.
I love it
the
too.
robot.
Yeah. And I was just spacing out, and it's a really emotional film, and that's when I sort of combined all these ideas, and I came up with this old man as our main character, which was sort of just the best vessel to explore the themes of sort of loneliness and loss, and what would you do to bring back a loved one?
Because I think Real Steel is actually a remake.
Is it?
Yeah, and it sounds, you're going to go, when I've never seen this, but I think it's a remake of something like The Outer Limits, or what was the other, what was it, it's something like The Outer Limits, The Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone.
Yeah, it's based on, say it's from the film, it would have been terrible, but I think they went back, looked through the archive, and they found an episode, this is quite a clever idea. So anyway, I digress.
Black Mirror, Twilight Zone, some of my favorite content.
Yeah, no, fantastic.
Yeah.
So the interesting part is the effects-driven side, which is obvious because, of course, that's your background. But it'd be fascinating to know if you've ever thought about doing something with no. It's very difficult, I guess, to make a film these days. Well, actually, I should step back from that and say, without having some kind of special effects in. But I guess it's what level you're at. But have you made a film that you don't have any special effects in it?
Yeah. In fact, I'd say that I don't necessarily write visual effects heavy movies. I write character pieces.
Right.
And in this case, because it's sci-fi and there's a big hologram in it, it's sort of a necessity, and I happen to know how to execute it. My first short film I made years ago was actually, it's a love story between two snails. And I got actual snails rather than animate the whole thing, and somehow coax them into acting.
There's a bit of lettuce.
Cucumber, actually. Yes. I love cucumber. But it would have been easy, comparatively speaking, to just go fully animated with it. But I think, again, one of the cliches that a lot of visual effects artists go to is, I want to make a short film. I know how to destroy a city. I know how to make a giant robot. I know how to make an alien invasion. I'm not necessarily interested in the sort of big scale effects. I do that for a living, but in my own work, I explore characters and the emotional side of filmmaking. And The Last Dance happens to be probably the most visual effects heavy film I've done. But again, it's sort of a necessity. It's not that I think of a VFX first and then come up with a story.
Yeah, but the great thing is you're right. Okay, we're talking about the special effects, but really it's the story behind this, particularly with the old guy and looking back, and it's quite moving. To be fair, where was it shot? I mean, I know you got the real exteriors, but was it in a house or in a studio? How did it?
It was shot here in London, in East London, actually, in a garage.
A real garage.
Which was really hard to find because obviously, in order to film a dance, it's got to be big. So it's a double garage that we rented for about a week.
And how on earth? I'm assuming there's places you go to that offer space for filming. Is that how it works? You go online?
You do actually. I think we found this one through a friend of a friend.
So I know someone's got a massive garage.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's a double garage, and the owner was fantastic and was really supportive. So first of all, clearing the whole thing out, and then letting us move in and build the set.
So you've got to move all the tools, the car, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's all got to come out.
Actually, some of that we used because it was just great set design.
Oh, of course, and then you have to make it be realistic. So you're carrying some of it. Okay. Okay, so you've got that part of the process is overdone, but it's done. But what about the rest of it? Although that's quite a big part of the film, of course, isn't it?
The hologram.
No, the garage is pretty much
the garage that's about 80%, and then the exterior was actually filmed on that property, and then there's a flashback to a wedding scene which was filmed in a nearby park. In the cold and in the rain, which was fun. So that's England for you.
No, of course, yeah. So is your bright future, of course, is it to, because I suspect you've thought about this, which is, do I carry on working the special effects? I've got to a certain level, great level. I also am a filmmaker. I'm sure you can combine the two, but ultimately, is that what you want to do, or do you want to diverge and just go into the film? Because you were saying something earlier about, which I picked up when you talked about people that are now well known in the film industry, juggling these jobs, and of course something gives in the end, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because they're probably working too hard. So the question, I guess, is there something you're thinking about doing, or are you moving more towards getting into the production side?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a filmmaker first.
Yeah.
Visual effects, I love it. It's in the industry. It's a great way of earning a living while still being in the industry, working with some truly great people. So I won't complain about that side.
No,
but my real passion is in writing and directing. It's kind of the difference between a studio musician who just plays other people's works and someone who composes their own songs or symphonies.
Yeah,
it is a difference, and I definitely need that sort of outlet to express myself.
And how do you get into that? There's me saying we talk about your film, but I'm fascinated to know how you got into the visual. Did you start as a graphic designer? How did that all kind of work?
Yeah, I started like most people in the visual effects industry by watching the video Copilot videos. I don't know if you've heard of them. It's After Effects, basically.
Right. Okay.
Which is probably the most popular visual effects software, although we don't use it. When I was in my early 20s, and I was just fascinated by how you could build entire worlds in the computer.
Yeah, because it's literally world building, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and that's one of my favorite aspects of filmmaking is world building, and it still is to this day. I started out as a game programmer, actually. So it's sort of related. It's sort of techie with a bit of creativity sparkled in there. And then I got a master's in digital effects here in Bournemouth,
Right.
South Coast. And from there, I went straight to DNEG, which is the global VFX powerhouse I work for now, still to this day.
Wow, so really, I'm not saying you're lucky because you create your own luck, but to go from there to there, that's a great turn of events, isn't it?
Yeah, it was very exciting, for sure.
Because I'm sure people would bite your hand off to get that.
Yeah. And I feel blessed to still be working for them as well. And we work on some really, really good films.
And what's next? Can you tell me what you're working on now?
So right now I'm actually between projects. I just wrapped, just to date this.
This is your projects I'm talking about rather than...
Oh, okay.
For
not
well, you can do, but it's really about you.
No, that's fine. I am currently, because I'm on break, I'm currently outlining stories and writing. I have a feature ready to go. I'm writing a second feature right now. Finishing another short film, which is a sort of animation stop motion hybrid.
Yeah.
Very similar to The Last Dance in tone, actually. And so I'm sort of starting to plan the next step in case anyone ever calls me up and is
says here's a bundle of money and come. Yeah.
Sure. I'll take that.
This couldn't really be a feature, could it? In my opinion, I think it would be difficult to do. Well, maybe you could, but then maybe there'd be too much fat on it. I don't know.
I have thought about it. I think there is something to the idea of a person building an android to replace a loved one, which is not The Last Dance.
No.
But there's more to that because you could actually live with a robot, and it's been done. I've seen it done. But no, I tend to agree with you. I think The Last Dance is fairly complete as a 7-minute story. There's a whole circle in it. It's a whole mini 3-act structure. So.
And you might have touched on Sarah. I know you said you've done other work, but are any of those features? Are they all shorts that you've done before?
No. I haven't directed a feature yet. No, but
that's your big goal.
Yeah, it's all in the drawer at home.
And how do you sort of splice your work? Because I'd imagine you're really busy. I know you're sort of working on projects all the time, but getting back to it sort of gets back to The Last Dance. 7 minutes. So is 7 minutes long? Sorry.
Yeah, 7.5 minutes.
7.5 minutes. But what most people that aren't involved in the film industry won't realise is 7 minutes sounds short, which it is short, but actually to put a production together is a bloody tough job, right?
It is.
So how do you balance? Because you want to make say for instance you want to make The Last Dance, but you've got to then juggle that between your day job in inverted commas.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going with this question. It's kind of finding time to do that, and it'll be the same. And then some of the feature, because the feature is have a bigger cast, bigger crew, bigger budget,
sure,
more pressure. We talked about this off screen. But so how do you sort of slice it? Or perhaps you're in a fortunate position where you can do that.
Well, I mean, work comes and goes in sort of phases, right? So when I filmed The Last Dance, that was just after wrapping up a huge project at work. So I had a couple of months of downtime and actually filmed 2 shorts in that period. So you just sort of make time, and it's not getting easier the older you get, for sure. But it harkens back to what I was saying earlier, which is that if it's your real passion and you need it as an outlet to express yourself, then you find the time because you need to do it. It's not a question of, I want to be a director. It's a question of, I need to tell a story. I want to share it with the audience. So being here is really special to me because this is what it's all about.
No, thank you for that. That's brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Great to chat to you, and thank you for taking the time to make that massive journey over Canary Wharf.